Hey, how y'all doing today? I'm starting to feel more comfortable with my audience or whatever. Like I said, over time, I feel like I should start sharing my experiences and testimonies with you all. So that's what I'm gonna do. Um, the first story that I want to tell is gonna be how I was discriminated against at one of my jobs. And I'm gonna probably try to tell y'all as quick as possible. And I know some people may be like, well, why is she talking about this? And I'm speaking about this to raise awareness and let people know that, discrimination does take place. Um, Maybe this can let somebody know how to handle discrimination as well. So, and it doesn't feel good to be discriminated against. Maybe I could speak to someone who's discriminated against. So, this is what happened. So what happened was basically I started. I was working at this particular job. To be honest with you, I was working at a chicken plant. I was working hard. I don't know if y'all know about a chicken plant, but they slaughter chickens. Yeah. So I worked there. Of course, I worked hard. I remember even one time I worked from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. I was getting it. So I stopped working there because, to be honest with you, it was a little bit of discrimination that was taking place there. But I didn't have the knowledge, patience, or expertise to deal with it. I dealt with it somewhat, but I didn't fully deal with it. But I'll give y'all a brief description of what took place there. So it was this Hispanic guy. He was working there. And he gave me, actually, I was working for this white guy. I'm getting it, I'm grinding. And then I wanted to get in another position where I was making more. So I went up to the supervisor, which was the white guy, Caucasian guy. I said, I would like to have a better opportunity for me and my family. I said, I love being in this section, but I would love to move to Mr. Miguel's section because, that's $2 more. And, I need that. So he was like, he didn't want me to leave. He was like, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't get upset that you're trying to better yourself. I respected that because it's been a lot of people, they want you and need you so bad. They don't care about how you need yourself or what you got to do. So they'll just, you know what I'm saying? They'll just use you or utilize you. You can't use yourself. So he let me end up moving to another section. I moved to the section, ended up moving with a Hispanic guy. Unfortunately, that plant had a whole bunch of people in it that were legal immigrants. So the man I was working for, he gave me some tips on how to maximize my performance. So I did it. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was making $2 and some change more. So I'm cutting fast. I'm getting my numbers up and all that. So this man ended up leaving, man. I heard he left because he was a legal immigrant and he got caught up in some paperwork. But anyway, so I ended up, a white guy ended up taking over his section and a few sections, and the guy was young or whatever. The guy, he was very arrogant. He had an attitude. So mind you, I'm working in that particular section that my first supervisor let me get in. Then when I started working for that particular guy, uh, I don't know. It was like, I would say 98% of Hispanics over there. So by me being over there, he kind of gave me a hard time. So I'm not gonna lie, I took it and I took it, and every now and then I would say things to advocate and defend for myself. Um, and then eventually he started using tactics to try to get me out the door, and they didn't work. You know what I'm saying? I kept having to go back and forth to HR and all that stuff. And then when I was in that particular section, I was still getting paid the pay that I was getting when I was in my last section. They didn't even correct my pay. So I went up to him, and before everything started taking place, I went up to him. I said, I'm only making such and such. I'm supposed to be making $2 more. He was like, your performance. So I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, how is it my performance? I'm like, I'm performing better than anybody over here. That's what I'm thinking to myself. So he kept doing that. So I continued to try to get better. So so next thing I know, I said, man, forget this. He promising me he gonna give me my pay, because eventually he did. So I started going over his head. Of course, he didn't like that. It was a black man that was over his head, and he automatically just went over there and he started calling for him on a radio, like, get over here, because he knew it was wrong me not getting my pay. So of course the dude flipped it over and flipped it and stuff. So they told me that I need to go to HR so I can do the little situation about my pay and stuff. So I went to HR and they was telling me, they said your well, he told me that he'll straighten out my pay. He said he'll give me back pay and all. So I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. He said he'll give me back pay. He said told me to go on home. So I went home. Next thing I know, I go to the office thinking that my pay is straight and I'm about to get my back pay. They tell me that I'm not performing the way I'm supposed to. So I'm like, how in the world am I not performing? So what I started doing is taking my phone into the job, and I started taking pictures of my performance because they had all of our names on a chart, and you know what I'm saying, if our stuff was green and it was at a certain number, that lets people know how we perform. So basically they wanted to make it seem like I wasn't performing how I was supposed to. See, it was a go along get along game too. That particular guy, he went to HR. You know, they look out for each other. So I do remember this too. I had talked to another supervisor, you know, that was close to him without him knowing that I talked to the supervisor. So when that supervisor was talking to me and about to get stuff straight, you know what I'm saying, he talked to the other supervisor, put him to the side, and was like, yo, don't help her out, don't. So that's a go along, get along game. So anyway, I went to HR or whatever. I showed them the pictures. I'm like, well, I ain't performing. I'm like, this ain't what y'all chart say. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, our chart isn't accurate. So I'm like, if y'all chart isn't accurate, how can y'all tell me that I'm not performing right, but other people are? So I just left that job alone. You know what I'm saying? It was a chicken plant anyway. So God gave me a better opportunity. I'm not gonna tell y'all the name of the company because, like I said, I ended up suing them for discrimination. I won my lawsuit. Nobody would take case. No attorneys would take my case, but I just kept all my documents. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so anyway, what happened was I started working at this particular job, and I'm gonna just give y'all some examples. My team lead, whenever we had our meetings in the morning, he would say things like, by the way, if you're Mexican, go back to Mexico. When he said stuff like that, some people thought it was funny, and those are the people who didn't think it was funny. They wouldn't say nothing. I didn't say anything either, but I just took notes. I said, oh no, he ain't gonna be outright disrespecting people. You know what I'm saying? That's not white. So he said that or whatever, and then to be honest with you, I started dating an Italian guy. As soon as I started dating an Italian guy, um, he really started getting racist on me. My team lead, he started coming up to me, asking me what me and him dating and stuff, and I didn't want to tell him because I knew how he felt about that. It was a white girl. She had some biracial babies, and he used to holler out stuff like, "She has no use for. I have no use for her. She likes to lay down with black men and all that type of stuff." So so he used to always harass me, tell me I won't perform. He told me I won't perform how I needed to too, but I knew it was a lie because everybody else thought I was performing, and people see what they want to see. So I was telling him no, that me and him didn't date, and at first I just got tired of lying because there was no policy against that. We had managers dating employees, whatever. So um, I told him, yeah, he gonna look at me tomorrow. You're supposed to tell me no. I was like, man. So then, um, so then me and my partner, who is Italian or whatever, we both applied to the job to become permanent. And people started, you know what I'm saying? I was the first one to even get a call from HR. I was the only one to get a call from HR. Everybody else got permanent due to you know what I'm saying, pulling tricks and strings and stuff like that. I didn't have to do that. I submitted my resume, my education, all that stuff, and they called me the next day. So the people in the establishment, they was hating. They was like, "Dang, Erica, how did you get a call from HR?" Even that particular guy that was like asked me on our date, he was like, "Did you know you had an interview today?" I would say, "Yeah," but I didn't want him to know I had an interview. I had did everything the right way, and I did it through HR. I didn't do it through him and try to ask him to pull no strings and everything like everybody else. So once they found out that I was, you know what I'm saying, that I had went to HR and they gave me an interview, and you know what I'm saying, that I was about to get a job, they started throwing all type of stumbling blocks in my way. They started putting me in. giving me humanly impossible tasks to do, um, all type of stuff, man. Making my life a living hell. My body was hurting so bad. They was giving me jobs that men was supposed to do, and all that. So, make a long story short, I ended up then going complaining about the guy to HR because I couldn't take it no more. How he was harassing me, man. It was just hell up in there. You know what I'm saying? They crashed my machine. Oh man, it was just crazy. So basically, like I was saying, they I just kept my documents or whatever, and I took it to court, and my right hand to God, I won. I won my case because I was being harassed. I was being sexually harassed. I was being targeted, man. You name it, I've been through it. So I was just very glad that I was able to handle the situation on my own. God was on my side. I had to drive to basically another state to go to the Equal Opportunity Commission. So I just want to advise anybody that's going through discrimination. You need to, you need to talk to somebody about it. The steps would be you talk to HR, then you talk to the Equal Opportunity Commission, Equal Opportunity um, Commission. And once you speak to them or whatever, they can get you where you need to go. But before you even file a lawsuit or anything because of discrimination, that's the first people you need to go to. You cannot file a lawsuit without going to them. But like I was saying, y'all, I was very appalled that he was go back to Mexico. I have no use for her. She likes laying down with blacks. Are you and him dating? You were supposed to tell me no. So then they also gave the guy that I was dating, they gave him a managing position, and they told him in order for him to keep it, then he couldn't talk to me. So even on break, my team lead will come up to me and say and tell him you're not supposed to be talking to her. I'm like, we're on break. So God bless me. Even though that was a really good job, it had some good benefits. It had good pay. It had a lot of good stuff. But I had to let the job go because I wasn't gonna sell my soul to make $1. It was basically like a fraternity or a sorority. But I was honored to be able, to perform the way I was doing, and they tried to throw so many blocks in my way because God showed them how powerful I was. You know what I'm saying? My little old self, I was doing things. Even one time I was out, it took 4 people to do my job. So that says itself. You know what I'm saying? That sells itself. If it takes 4 people to do my job, 'cause I know how to move, I know how to maneuver. I had masterminded it where I came up with a better way to, you know what I'm saying, come up with a system to do my machines. But really, I used to build. I'm not even gonna tell y'all what I used to build. Okay, I'll go ahead and say I used to build tractors. So you know what I'm saying, by me dealing in that country environment like that, the apple don't fall too far from the tree from what they was doing in them days when they was having to use tractors and farms and all that stuff. But that was a very bad experience for me. That was like one of the worst experiences I had to go through. Um, it was just a whole bunch. Um, I could tell y'all more, but I'm just gonna leave it at discrimination does exist. So y'all just be careful.